Oh boy, Fulton, or whatever her name, is done. $10,000 fine hits and state takes over begins. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, Felton County is at a breaking point after a KDEC crossover day at the Georgia Gold Dome. The Board of Communication is now facing a $10,000 fine for defying a judge order. Get into that, shall we? Also, how about Don Lemon too, as well. So let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we? Let's go ahead. Let's get into this bad boy. Enjoy.
Working as hard as me. Best to ever do it. I sit here with a 92% conviction rate. That's my history.
At this point, it's just like playing Russian roulette with our tax dollars. Like, what are we doing over here? Hi everybody, it's me, AV. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things law, true crime, and a bit of debauchery. I'm using the fan today, the glorious fan, because I'm still in Boston and for some reason it is snowing in March. Not fun, I know. Hence the Stark Targaryen thing. We do need to talk about that because Daenerys was Jon Snow's
Wait, is this not our story? Let's talk about Fulton County.
Anywho, let's talk about Fulton County because speaking of debauchery, there's still a ton going on down there. Here's your weekly recap. For those that have been keeping track of this story with us throughout the last few weeks, it all started when the FBI raided the Fulton County election office to take away some ballots to the FBI. The FBI conducted that raid, and they are still in the process of processing the evidence that was taken from that day. That included ballots, rolls, things of the like, any records related to the 2020 election. Now I know because so many of you guys in the comments are like, what about Elon and what he's been doing? And I'm like, okay, PAC letter went to Elon, we're gonna acknowledge that. But at the same time, I want to bring you up to speed with everything that has taken place this week. Last Friday, the 13th in February, Nathan Wade was scheduled to testify in front of the Georgia Senate Committee. He was ducking and dodging a subpoena the same way that Fani Willis did. Now, he proposed a date of March 13th.
You know, I had the date to show up in my head, then I didn't recall.
For an alternative date to testify. Now, what I can tell you guys is that that date was rejected by the Georgia legislative body for a very good reason. And that reason is because today is crossover day. That means that next week, between Friday the 6th and the next 7 days between the 13th, are very heavy days when it comes to Georgia Congress. So many laws are being proposed and they're being kind of stuck in last minute before they can move forward in the process. We're going to talk in a minute to determine if that was something that was strategic. What we are going to do is start this video with the latest from Greg Dolezal on this Friday. So it looks like there are two posts from this Friday. We're going to go through both, but let's go through the first one from 8 hours ago, and it reads, "Why won't Fulton's Democratic commissioners follow the law? They're refusing a judge's order to seat the GOP nominees to their county election board. They were even levied a $10,000 a day fine, yet they still refuse. Fulton County has left us no choice. It's time for," I believe he says here, "a state takeover." He begins with using my favorite word, shenanigans.
Or election shenanigans in Fulton County. It's a tired story, it's a tired tale, but this one is over the top even for Fulton County. You see, by their own rule, Fulton County is supposed to have a balanced election board. 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and 1 person appointed by the chairman of the county commissioners, which in this case would be a 3rd Democrat. So they've already got a structural advantage of a 3-2 partisan split. But Fulton County is violating their own rule in refusing to seat the Republican nominee. Now, they did this all the way back in May. So the GOP nominated a Republican, Jason Frazier is his name. Fulton County's refused to seat him. They were found They were ordered by a court to follow their own rule back in June. They've since been held in contempt of court twice. In August, they were levied a $10,000 a day fine, and they still refuse to seat the Republican member of the state election board.
Wow.
Now, Mr. President, yesterday the chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners came to our ethics committee here and had the audacity to refer to the state election board as, quote, hyper-partisan. And meanwhile, the same gentleman is leading the charge to ensure that the Republican nominee does not get seated to the state election board. So I know that some of my colleagues like to, they feel bad, they think we're beating up on Fulton County, but goodness, can one of y'all call Fulton County and just tell them to follow the law?
So one of y'all just buzz them up. Boop, 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 boop. Remember when we actually had phones that had wires and we were able to be like, boop, 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 boop. Hi, here's what I think you should do in this situation. And they just don't, they're not going to do it. They would hang up. You would have to call them on *67 or *69. You would have to call private. Now, we get robocalls. All the time, we just get robocalls. We don't know who's calling. Bring us back in the day where people trusted each other.
This is getting tired, and it seems like the only thing that will work, Mr. President, is for the state election board to come in and take over the Fulton County elections. Mr. President, it's time, it's past time, and it is always Fulton County.
Well, damn. It's always Fulton County. I mean, we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it. And I mean, 10,000 a day against tax dollars. Like, it's not like we're going to Vegas and we're playing roulette on all the tables. And you know what I'm talking about. Like, we don't play at the tables at $25. We go to the ones on sale at 10, 15, okay? That took a while. But the 10 or 15s, not the 25s. That's what we're doing. We're playing roulette with tax dollars, and it's not right. Here's the senator's next video. Well, it says here, every Georgia Senate Democrat just voted against my SAVE amendment to ensure only U.S. citizens vote in our elections and require photo ID to vote. They choose to oppose election integrity. Georgians deserve better. All right. This is why crossover day in Georgia is so important. And if you look at the strategic days coming up next, when Nathan Wade wanted to reschedule for next Friday, this happened today on the previous Friday. Going into next week, Senator Greg Dolezal was like, hey, that's in the thick of it. We're going to be super deep into the session. So if we're going to do this, let's do it at a different time. Let's learn a little bit more about crossover day in Georgia and what it means.
Doug, there is always some drama, some highs, some lows at crossover day. If people are tuning into this for the first time, they don't have the lay of the land there at the Capitol. Could you just tell us a little bit about what we're expecting to see the rest of the night? Maybe more ice cream?
Well, you know, it's funny. There does tend to be little spots of free food here at the Capitol during the course of a day like crossover day and the adjournment day, which will be in April. One other issue that has been percolating is election bills that some Republicans have been bringing, designed to sort of restrict what they view as excesses in Georgia's elections, like allowing computerized ballots. They'd like to change it to hand-marked paper ballots. There was a constitutional amendment that actually appeared in the Senate this afternoon that had a sort of citizenship requirement for voters, which I think is already the law. But nonetheless, it was something that the sponsors felt like needed to have a little more teeth. And interestingly, that Republican bill, the constitutional amendment, failed in the Senate. It got a majority of votes, but because it required a 2/3 majority to pass, it did not pass. And so as a result, if it had passed, it would have gone before voters in November, ironically enough, who would have had to vote on it presumably as citizens of the great state of Georgia and the United States, Caitlin.
I heard y'all were trying to pass laws to come and get me. You got that cash?
Do you guys think that is 11 Alive becoming a little liberal? I'm just saying, is it? That felt a little liberal. Did it feel fair on both sides? I mean, presumably, and maybe. I don't know why. We've been talking about full voter ID for weeks. Why did the FBI raid you?
Certainly, election year politics are driving some of what we're seeing here over today and really throughout the legislative session. It has not been excessive, particularly. We haven't seen a lot of the red meat kind of bills that we have seen in previous years. Bills that have been sort of bills that have been more sort of aimed toward 30-second advertising, maybe than actual